So we are ready to talk about what happened at that service. Everybody was asking me analyze Trump's body language and Melania's body language and Vance's body language, because everybody was like in shock when they were listening to these words of this bishopess. Again, I don't know. This is an actual picture, by the way. This is an actual picture of her. You can see that she's got all the let's say blue party energy. That purple hair barista energy. You know the type. I don't want to stereotype, because there's so many people that fall outside of that. So many people that like purple hair, but they are not purple hair, if you know what I mean. But when you see this face, you just realize, oh, wait a second. Are my glasses working? Because for 1 second, I thought that, what happened to Kevin Bacon? But no, it's not Kevin Bacon. It's a woke bishopess. Bishop, I don't know how to say that. Well, she was the one who started this all. And what was the body language reaction that we're looking for? The body language reaction, we're going to see a couple angles. This is like the first one that we're going to see, in which we can see everything happen at once. We're going to see various angles so we can see the action, so to speak, at once. This is the most complete one. Gonna play it so you can hear it for yourself.
In the name of our God, I ask you to have mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now.
Yeah, when she says, we are scared now. No. I don't think that you are scared. I don't think that you're scared. You will be scared after you say these words, but let's move on.
There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican, and independent families.
Okay, but I'm going to just let her continue. I'm going to have a word after this.
Some who fear for their lives. And the people who pick our crops and clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meat packing plants, who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals, they may not be citizens or have the proper documentation. But the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals. They pay taxes and are good neighbors. They are faithful members of our churches and mosques, synagogues, wadara, and temples. I ask you to have mercy, Mr. President, on those in our communities whose children fear that their parents will be taken away.
This is manipulation at its best. We haven't even taken into account body language. But this is manipulation at its best, okay? This is important. Yeah, and racist at the same time. I see your comments as well.
And that you help those who are fleeing war zones and persecution in their own lands to find compassion and welcome here. Our God teaches us that we are to be merciful to the stranger.
I have to say one thing. I cannot wait. I sincerely hate when people use religion to manipulate. I mean, there are many ways to manipulate. You can manipulate in a number of ways, but when you use religion and beliefs to manipulate, that's one of the worst. I just can't stand that.
For we were all once strangers in this land. May God grant us the strength and courage to honor the dignity of every human being.
Well, we could start with American citizens if you're in America. We could start with Canadian citizens if you're in Canada, and so forth, because that's what borders are for.
To speak the truth to one another in love and walk humbly with each other and our...
Yeah, we can speak to each another. We can, to both sides of the wall, maybe the wall is a fence and you can still speak to each other, but on the other side of the fence, just an idea.
God, for the good of all people in this nation and the world.
Of course, because if you don't do this, then you're a bad Christian, you're a bad person, you're a bad, the usual manipulation. I just despise this kind of stuff. As I'm going to mute, I'm going to jump forward, maybe not mute, because we need to see the actual reactions. And just, I think the best way is to look at the three reactions at the same time. This is going to be a shorter video, a shorter clip of what we just heard, which you already know. It's manipulation. It's like you are a bad person if you don't accept everyone in this country. Everyone in this country. No. Wait a second. There must be rules. Even God set up rules. The rules of of engagement, of living. And even those rules can be, subject to interpretation. They can be, I don't know, I'm just a messenger, but let's talk about body language. We're getting too much into religion. Let's watch this, especially when the first words hit. Here it comes.
In the name of our God, I ask you.
To be fair, I think Melania already, from the beginning, before the words, she already didn't like the bishopess. She didn't like her. Okay, you know that Melania has a neutral face. That is not Melania's neutral face. We could say that Laura had a neutral face. That's a more like neutral face. But no, Melania was not buying it. Trump was fairly relaxed. He was going well with it. Okay, whatever. And we see both Usha and Vance. Vance was, he was not looking at her at that moment. But let's continue. When the first words hit, we're going to see a couple things in here.
Mercy upon the people in our country who are scared now.
You see that when she says,
country. We're scared now.
Trump lowers his gaze. He turns his eyes downwards. Oh, here we go. Here we go. He says, here we go. And we see that Vance raises his inner eyebrows a bit, as in, seriously? Seriously? It's like that meme from the Walking Dead. Really? Here? In the service? And Usha was saying, well, here we go. The expected is about to happen. And, well, Melania's suspicions were confirmed at that exact moment. She said, oh, I knew this was going to be about this. But let's continue.
There are gay, lesbian, and transgender children in Democratic, Republican.
Vance looks at Usha saying, what does it have to do with this? I mean, what does it have to do with the service? He's trying to, Vance is very empathic of when this is going on. He's the one like looking at Usha. He's the one looking in the direction of Trump. Like, seriously, this is really happening right now? Am I hearing this right? And you see that Melania also looks downwards, as in, no, this is gonna be headlines tomorrow. This is gonna be headlines tomorrow. But it's the usual, right? It's the usual. When we're talking about Trump, we're gonna have headlines every day, and we are here for it.
Independent families, some who fear for their lives.
You see that when she says that those families fear for their lives, Trump lowers his gaze again just a bit. He does. It was a very long blink.
Who fear for their lives.
As in, no. And Vance doubles down in the You can't be serious. You can't be serious about this. You're going to use this moment to proselytize. Is that a word? It's I don't know if I'm using the right word for that. Here we go.
And the people who pick.
Notice that after all that has happened, there is a very subtle gesture, let's say, from Melania. You have to learn to spot these kind of things. It's not a gesture in her face, but in her body. Look at how her body like leans back. Okay, she's trying she's trying to get away, like go backwards from the bishopess.
And the people who pick our crops.
You notice that, right? She did this, like, okay, she feels that rejection. Trump is trying to play it cool. He hasn't moved an inch. He hasn't changed his facial expression. And Vance is, oh my God. We will try to play this cool. I'm going to try to play this cool.
And clean our office buildings, who labor in poultry farms and meat packing plants.
The thing when she says the people who pick our crops, and that was a bit racist. That was a bit racist because it's like we're talking about people that pick the crops. That was actually what century are we talking about? What century are we talking about?
Who wash the dishes after we eat it.
And you see that Vance looks in Usha's direction again.
Who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work.
Who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants. Maybe some of those immigrants, I don't know, could have online businesses as well. Maybe, you have to stereotype them that way. Oh, yeah, because you have to paint them as victims of the capitalist system. It's all in the end the same. It's a Marxist message to make people look like victims of the system. Oh, they are victims of the system. They wash your dishes after you eat at fancy restaurants. That is manipulation. That is plain and simple manipulation. That I guess that Vance is looking at Usha and saying, like, that is all this trick in the bag. What are we supposed to do? Feel bad about that? Feel bad about this? You're using a straw man argument to make a point about nothing, just to appear so magnanimous that we have to be the better people and accept anybody in. No, that is plain and simple manipulation. That is plain and simple manipulation, and nobody should be allowed to, be treated this way. Not countries, not individuals, and that's why I make sure to show you how people manipulate, how people use these tactics to, literally apply manipulation.
Restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals. It
was my favorite part in terms of body language, because finally Trump shows one emotion, especially after the washing the dishes. He realizes that it's plain and simple manipulation, and look what he does with his face.
Restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals. They may not be citizens or have the proper documentation.
He finally says, I cannot believe this is happening. It's like, has that way of moving his mouth, of pressing his lips, and say that he's really, maybe we could say that he's upset of why use a service to speak that way. Oh yeah, manipulation.
Who wash the dishes after we eat in restaurants and work the night shifts in hospitals. They may not be citizens.
I don't know. I would like to know who was seated to his right. But it's like, oh wait, can you imagine this? And Melania, if looks could kill. I saw a comment. I apologize. I don't remember who made that comment. If looks could kill, Melania would be an entire firing squad. Melania was not happy, and Vance was, doing his classic fourth wall breaking. I said, come on. What is this? Usha was just trying to go with that. But she was not impressed. I am not impressed, is her facial expression. I told you that this was going to be body language platinum, and it didn't disappoint.
Have the proper documentation. But the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals.
That's something that you have to understand. The way that she uses those words. The vast majority of what?
Not. But the vast majority of immigrants are not criminals.
The vast majority of immigrants. Oh, she uses the umbrella term. I've told you about how toxic people use umbrella terms to make everybody in the same bag. Yeah, many immigrants, when you use the word immigrant, many of them came to the United States in legal ways. They enter the United States legally, and they earn their green card legally and their citizenship legally. Immigrants. But there are illegals as well who committed a crime because it's a crime to enter the United States illegally. So that's why, this is so hard for people to understand, but they make sure to use that tactic, to use this umbrella term, immigrants. Like, doesn't matter. Oh, some of them are not criminals. Yeah, some of them are not criminals. You're stating the obvious, but you're making it seem that the illegals that these efforts are aimed to didn't act in a way that that shouldn't be done. That is an actual crime, and that's when both Trump and Vance just they just quit. They just quit. And they look down and say, "Oh my God, let me read this tiny brochure because this is embarrassing. This is embarrassing not for them, for the bishopess, for the bishopess."
They pay taxes and are good neighbors. They are
They pay taxes, and that's when Vance looks towards Trump, as in he's trying to measure. Well, let me see what is he thinking? What is his reaction? And Trump is saying, "Well, this is gonna be over soon."
They are faithful members of our churches and mosques, synagogues, wadara, and temples.
Body language platinum. I told you, body language platinum, but it didn't stop there. It did not stop there. Trump had an actual reaction, of course, in the most Trumpian way. And, we know that mean tweets are back. Mean tweets are back in the menu boards. The so-called bishop who spoke at the National Prayer Service on Tuesday morning was a radical left hardline Trump hater. She brought her church into the world of politics in a very ungracious way. She was nasty in tone and not compelling or smart. She failed to mention the large number of illegal migrants that came into our country and killed people. Many were deposited from jails and mental institutions. It is a giant crime wave that is taking place in the USA. Apart from her inappropriate statements, the service was a very boring and uninspiring one. She's not very good at her job. She and her church owe the public an apology. Again, this was wonderful to analyze, and the physiognomy, I've told you, physiognomy never misses, the shape of the face, but we're going to be talking more about this. Todd Starner, the blasphemous bishop at National Cathedral, preached politics from her pagan pulpit. Therefore, National Cathedral should lose its tax-exempt status. This is not a Christian church. This is a sanctuary of Satan. But again, I would like to know what you think about this in the comments, because this was one of the most interesting displays of body language that we had this year. Let me highlight your amazing live chat. Yeah, Lord have mercy, because this was just